today's session. As you see, Alan is a key figure in the Lake Monona Waterfront project, which we're going to go over today. Alan is the chair of the city's ad hoc committee working on this, and is also an executive member of the private side of this equation, the Friends of Nolan Waterfront. We both serve on the executive committee. So Alan has a huge amount of knowledge. We're just so thankful for him to be here today. We've got a quick video, and then we're going to do a quick presentation and really want to take questions as to what people have. So we're going to roll right into it right now.
And what this is, that Jason's going to be opening up is a video, a drone movie showing the park site. And we're starting here by Machinery Row, and what we're going to be doing is moving south, just kind of generally south, once it starts. Initializing, dot, dot, dot. It worked great 25 minutes ago. It did.
Mm-hmm. Does anyone have anything to talk about while we're waiting for this video to initialize? No, hopefully it'll come up here.
I don't know what initializing involves. I'll just get this started. The city undertook a planning initiative, started about 4 years ago. Initially, it was looking at Law Park to kind of redevelop the Lake Monona shoreline along Law Park. And then and it may be that we just skip the video.
We're going to try to load it again.
One more try.
Yeah. Thank you.
Here we go. So this is where it starts. We're at Machinery Row now, moving along the Lake Monona shoreline. And this is the whole the area of the planning for the park. It's about 1.7 miles of shoreline altogether. It's only 17 acres. So as you'll see from looking at this, it's very thin. Down at this end of the proposed park, one thing they're looking at is Frank Lloyd Wright designed a boathouse in the 1890s, which is kind of in the works there. And then looking here now, as we move toward Monona Terrace, a big part of the plan is connecting downtown to the lakeshore. And the idea is that would be bridge over John Nolan Drive and the railroad tracks. And there's been some studies showing that that's feasible and likely in connection with an expansion of Monona Terrace, kind of going toward Williamson Street. And we come along here along Monona Terrace. And again, this is all the planning area. One thing you see, we're coming up to Broome Street, is one of the issues is the existing shoreline are these big rocks. And that's good to control erosion, but it's really not good for anything else in terms of aquatic habitat and a shoreline that's sort of good for the lake and good for users of the lake. It's pretty much a barrier. Now here we're coming up to North Shore Drive, where the John Nolan Causeway is starting. And here's the big, where the Southwest Bike Path connects. And kind of coordinating with transportation, the various modes of transportation are a huge issue with this park. The city is rebuilding John Nolan Drive in 2025 and 2026. And a big part of the impetus for the good thing about it is that kind of got this project going. Things can delay in Madison sometimes. And the goal is to have this park planning moving along well so that as the engineers are rebuilding their bridges and rebuilding the causeway, that they have this proposed park in mind. And it's just one, the issues here, it's very narrow, and there are just a lot of transportation uses here between people walking and biking along the bike path. Obviously, a lot of cars going very fast. You got the railroad, tracks running along here. Then you've got some users of the lake. Now we come into Olin Park, and this is the south end of the project, and it's where there's the most land. The city just acquired this southern part of Olin Park about 5 years ago, And so this is, this part of the park, this kind of northern end of the park really hasn't been developed into a park or have any programming with it. This is the former State Medical Society building that's now the Parks Department Administrative Center, and they're remodeling that, and part of that they're looking at public facing space, so which again is all part of the project. And then we come back around and you see a big part of why this is so important. This is just such a beautiful view coming into Madison along John Nolan Drive. So this is the area that I'll be talking about with the with the Lake Monona water. It's the Lake Monona waterfront planning area. So now we're going to start with a slideshow. Okay, and again, Lake Monona waterfront, next slide, we just talked about this. This is the planning area and it's called the Lake Monona waterfront, obviously. And what it is, it's the park along Lake Monona between John Nolan Drive and the lake from Machinery Row up to Olin Park. It's got a really extensive and important role in Madison's history. These were various Ho-Chunk settlement areas, gathering areas, and there are some significant effigy mounds along the shoreline here. And so this was one of a very important part of the pre-European history of Madison, and quite frankly, there downtown in the Isthmus, that's where the city started. And so then moving forward, in 1909, John Nolan created a master plan for the city of Madison. And this shoreline was just central to his master plan. You can see here looking up to the Capitol from Lake Monona, he planned a big esplanade, a big park running all along the shoreline here. And he talked about, he said that Madison had one of the most beautiful locations and opportunities of any city that he knew of, but that we weren't doing a very good job with the Lake Monona Lakeshore. Frank Lloyd Wright was also very interested in this part of Madison. We all know about Monona Terrace, which was essentially his last design. If we go to the next page, this shows the boathouse that he designed in the 1890s for essentially at the end of Blair Street. And again, this history is all kind of, going into what we're going to do with this area. In the kind of roughly past decade, in the 2000s, 2010s, a number of design professionals worked with the UW and came up with some concept plans for the Law Park area of this proposed park, which were focused a lot on connecting downtown to the lakeshore and then activating the lakeshore. Some of these plans included, again, a boathouse, included what are things that we can do to make people want to come and use the lakefront here. So then that moved forward, and then that was also combined. There was work done in connection with the county. And you may recall Tim and Kevin Metcalf led an effort called, I think, Nolan Centennial Project up by the Alliance Center that involved, again, ways of connecting South Madison into the lakefront and into downtown and activating that whole area. And this became lake activation of downtown Lake Monona was a central part of Madison's downtown plans, both in 2000 and 2012. So, it's there have been impediments to moving forward with the plan. Obviously, you've got John Nolan Drive, you've got the railroad tracks, you've got water quality issues, given the nature of what our lakes are. You've got, challenges with the shoreline, and these are all things that that are issues for the park planning and design process. At the capital city, this whole area, the capital city bike path runs through it, and that's just a critical transportation artery that needs to be incorporated into and improved with the park. So the city in 2018 undertook a planning initiative for this Lake Monona Waterfront Park. Alder Verveer got some money into the city budget, really a fair bit of money. It's about $500,000 for planning. And again, focused on this area that we've been talking about here. And initially the Law Park area, and then it was expanded south into Olin Park. Looking through a couple of, these are just sort of the various components of the of the city's planning process that we've talked about. Yes. And then here to the end on Olin Park. And so what the city then did is sponsored this very extensive public engagement process from 2018 to 21. It was led by Equity by Design and Urban Assets. And just to get feedback as to what Madison citizens or residents were looking for and would like to see in this lake shore. And then what that led into is what's called the Design Challenge that was started earlier this year. And essentially what that is that the city has put forth, sent out requests for qualifications, we'll just stay here for a second, to national park design companies, and said that, look, what we're going to do is we're going to select 3 finalists, and we're going to pay you $75,000 a piece to prepare concept plans for this park. And so next. And so here's the authorization. The city appointed a committee. This sort of describes in an overview what the process is. And the city appointed this committee to oversee this design challenge process.
The committee to which you are chair.
Yeah.
So get Alan's reference.
And then this is the format. We're going to select 3 finalists. They're going to present their plans. We're going to have a public engagement process where then the committee is going to select one finalist, and the city is going to pay them another $200,000 to prepare a more detailed master plan that'll then be submitted to the Common Council. These are the guiding principles for the design challenge. I'm not going to read them all. They're essentially what you would think about. You may recognize the person on the right side of the screen. Okay, next.
I like how fast you moved on from
right,
me. Okay, right. I see how this goes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So again, the mayor nominated and the council appointed the ad hoc committee to oversee this. And one thing that's kind of interesting with this ad hoc committee is it's got complete control over this process until the master plan is submitted to the Common Council. The way the resolution was designed, this committee selected the 3 finalists, laid out the criteria consistent with the principles, and then we interviewed some of the proposed teams, and then we're going to select a finalist and work with that finalist to refine a master plan, which will then be submitted to the Common Council and go through the regular city process. Next. These are the members of the committee. Again, the mayor selected, just trying to get a broad section of the community. Next. And so then we sent out these requests for qualifications to design teams nationally. Next. We were really impressed by the response. Both local and national design teams. Really, the challenge from our committee wasn't finding a good partner. It was eliminating some potentially very good partners.
I say one quick note on this too. These lead agencies are the lead agencies, but I think every single one of these had several local partners.
Yeah.
If it was local landscape architecture firms, local engineering firms, they all,
Technologists, they all
correct,
did.
correct.
They were all local. Yeah, this is just the lead agency,
Correct.
and there were 2 or 3 local partners with each of them.
And obviously you see some local agencies, including, Ken Psyche's operation and a few others, but I just wanted to make sure people understood there is a real local component to each one of these teams.
There is. We evaluated and scored those 14 submittals. Next. We interviewed the 5 highest ranked teams virtually and scored those interviews. And then these are the 3 finalists who we came up with. And what I'm going to do, rather than me talk about these finalists, we've got a video where these finalists kind of introduce themselves. Hopefully this will work.
Peggy and Mallory, let me know if the sound works, because this is always a fun part of this game. Can you hear it?
No.
Okay.
And the sound is important.
Can you just get the URL and open it up like in a separate thing where you click sound and video optimization?
That's right. That's right. I don't think I have a separate URL. Do we have? No, we do not.
Can you like right click on it and get the URL?
No, but hold please. If Alan, if you could just talk for a little bit, I think I can figure this out.
So what we did is we had virtual interviews of all of the of the 5 top ranked consultants. And then what these are clips for, and the city through all this, our committee meetings were virtual. So it's one thing about it, just hyper transparency. We were very transparent about the entire process here. And so we, this is all, they were Zoom, they were recorded. I don't know if you can be able to find it. Jason.
Yeah, I don't, yes. As a committee, we send about 20 emails a day to each other. So I was sorting through those emails. So I will send that video on though, but it is a great video of what these agencies can do. And I think just to put a frame of reference on the importance we'll send you the presentation, Madeline, but the importance of these organizations that are selected. I mean, groups like James Corner Field Operations created the High Line in.
Oh, we've got
okay,
some
there you
slides
go.
out.
Never mind.
We had a backup plan in the event this didn't work. If we go back to the slideshow.
We sure will, my friends.
This wasn't any expression of a lack of confidence in our technical abilities.
Look, I also struggled to make his cup of coffee this morning. So
the first one is Agency Landscape and Planning. They're out of Boston, and they're working with a group called MSR, who did the Central Library and the municipal building. Next. They did the just to show some of their plans. One that Gina Ford, their lead designer, was the lead on the Riverwalk in Chicago, if anybody's been along there. And again, it's really a very similar sort of thing with a very narrow urban shoreline that you're trying to activate for really intensive uses. Next. And again, just showing some of the plans. The thing about these finalists, they're just enormously creative. They love the transportation challenge. They love lakes and waterways and activating shorelines. And it's really going to be neat what we come up with. Second was James Corner Field Operations. They did the High Line in New York. They're doing right now Seattle Central Waterfront. They're doing the Presidio in San Francisco, a topper of the Presidio. And so, as well as, I'm talking about some of the US projects, but all of these firms worked overseas, and, the Abu Dhabi and China, really impressive project here. This shows the Brooklyn Waterfront Park that James Corner did. And then the other finalist, Sasaki, they're also out of Boston. They've they've got like 300 professionals working for their firm. They've done a lot of work in Chicago. They've done work in Florida, and again, international. So it's really, and again, this also shows the local partners that they've got, and all of them have, like as Jason said, they all have local partners here, whether they're limnologists, environmental engineers, road engineers, that kind of thing.
But again, you can see here the local representation too
Right.
with Grafe, and so just want to make sure we note that as well.
Yep. And so, yeah, these guys, they're just experts on waterfronts. Okay. And so this is the schedule. A lot of kind of a lot of lines here, a lot of information here. But basically, what's happening is the city has just entered into contracts with Sasaki, James Corner, and agency. They are now beginning their design process, which will go on over the next 4 months roughly, and they're going to then be submitting their concept master plans in January to the committee. The committee is going to oversee a public engagement process over the next couple of months, and then the committee is going to score and select a finalist. And when that happens, the city's going to enter into a new contract with that finalist. Oh, but one thing I wanted to say with the design challenge, you know, the city put up there was $225,000, $75,000 apiece. Half of that came from Friends of Nolan Waterfront, the private nonprofit group that Jason and I are on the board of. We raised, you know, kind of through the philanthropic community, $112,500 that's going in through the Parks Foundation. And one of the things we're working on going forward is fundraising to side of this park, because the goal is it's going to be big, and it's going to have it be the way we want it. It's more than the city can afford.
Well, one of the nice things, just not to cut you off there, is that it really is a public-private partnership between the city. Things like how we communicate this project. The city is working with us, and we actually host the website. So if you just go to lakemononawaterfront.org, that is a website that's put on by the Friends of Noah Waterfront, but the city is a partner in that. So they get information on that as well. So I think it's a really interesting part of this project. Right now, it truly is a public-private partnership, which is what it's going to have to be as we finish this plan and then start with implementation, most likely first with the John Nolan Causeway. That is going to take some outside money plus, you know, some government money to get that project done, and the community really being involved with that project from day one. So I'm really proud of that. You know, the mayor, the alders in that area, Alders Carter, Evers, Verveer, they really have been a part of this as well, Benford. And so we're just very thankful for this really great relationship thus far.
You know, and also just through city staff, while it's led by the Parks Department, but they work closely with engineering, with city purchasing, it's really been a great collaborative effort. And so then what's going to happen is once the contract's entered into with the finalists, they're going to they're going to get $200,000, put a more detailed master plan together. That's going to be submitted to the Common Council and then go through the city public engagement process, you know, referral to Parks Commission, various the various relevant city committees, come back to the council and Parks Commission for approval, and then we'll start implementation. These are the next events that are of significance. On October 3rd at the Central Library is the kickoff, which the Parks Department is sponsoring. The finalists will be there virtually. They have about half an hour apiece to talk about their thoughts and moving forward, answer questions, public engagement. There's going to be a check-in in the middle of the process in early November at Monona Terrace. And then they're submitting their plans in early January, and on January 26th at the new Olin Park facility, there in the old State Medical Society building. They'll be there live to interact with the public on it and answer questions, and we can talk about this. So
I like that you picked the coldest day of the year.
That's right.
Yeah,
should be a good one. This should be. Well, one thing actually was kind of cool talking with these consultants is they love the idea of frozen lakes, frozen water, and programming around frozen water, not, solid water, not just liquid water. They're really excited about that. So, and then this is just the information on the Friends of Nolan Waterfront. If you're interested in engaging more with this, or if you're interested in donating some money, here's our information here. The website's got all the information, and
we have several committees too. So if you're interested in
Right.
helping out, we're just talking about a potential, Peggy, someone that you connected me to get on one of these committees. So we would love anyone's help and anyone in your networks that's interested in this project. I'm working on a lot of projects, obviously, at any one time at downtown, but this is the one that has so much attention on it. There's just so much discussion about it and the potential for really game-changing type of work, and how we interface not only with the Lake Monona waterfront, but how the east side and the south side interacts. And what are these east-west connections between the south side and the water and then into downtown? So this is so many members of the community could be touched by this important. Is that it?
there we go.
That's it.
So happy to take any questions.
All right. What questions do we have? We added some people. Hello, Tiffany. Hello, Lynn. Good to see you all.
I do have a comment and a question. First of all, I'm so excited about this project because when we're on the lakes and you look at how much area is there and it feels that it's not being used and there's limited public access. So I'm really excited for that reason, because these should be open to every single person that wants to be there. On a personal note for each of you, I'm just curious, you're both so passionate about this. What is it you're most passionate about with this project? What's driving you to get involved?
This is really a unique and spectacular geographic site with Madison's capital in the middle of an isthmus. And again, it's 1.7 miles of lakeshore right downtown, and we're not using it at all. I mean, it should be such an enormous community asset, community gathering place. You look at Millennium Park in Chicago. You look at, just some of the great parks around the world, and we've got a location that's as good as any of them. And this could just be such a huge thing in our community. And it's really exciting trying to make that happen.
I mean, three things for me, but I'm going to get to a fact first that blew my mind when I first heard it. So 50% of the shoreline on the 5 lakes are owned by the public. So the city of Madison, Dane County, the state of Wisconsin, University, 50%, but yet we have such poor access to the water. I mean, you really have to know someone with a boat, and that is about as privileged of a statement as you can ever make, right? So how do we get everyone at the water? So why I'm so excited about it is honestly the amazing work that Annette Miller and the team at Equity by Design ran the community work 2 years ago in the middle of COVID. I have never seen this many people this excited from all corners of our community saying, this is what we want. We want places to fish. We want places to barbecue. We want places to play volleyball, to be on the beach, amphitheaters, food options. Everyone came out, and the energy was palpable. And I'm still feeding off these meetings from 2 years ago about why this is important. To our competitive advantage in Madison, we have 2 real competitive advantages. People use the term competitive advantage, I think wrong a lot of the time. We actually have 2 things that no one else has. We're an isthmus. There's only one other downtown with an isthmus, and it's Seattle. And then the second thing is we are the birthplace to Frank Lloyd Wright, right? And you can't make that up. And so to combine these 2 things and have better access to the water, let's just take where we are right now, right? So I'm in the Hovde building here. I run the downtown, one of the downtown management organizations, and I can't really figure out how to get to the waterfront from here. That's without crossing railroad tracks and all the rest of these things. It's not good enough with people with disabilities in many different communities to be able to get to the waterfront. And then last, it to me is about what can happen with both the east side and the south side in particular, because what can happen with this project and the combination of the destination district work around the Alliant Energy Center creating much better east-west connections that are not on the Beltline or a very small frontage road into this amazing work on the south side, right? The Center for Black Excellence. Karen Menendez Collier's work at Centro Hispano, which a paper today with a $2.5 million gift. The Black Business Hub, just all of this stuff that is happening in that area. We need better connections, not just through Park Street, but east-west as well. And so to me, that is key. We can really break down some of these barriers that these transportation, racist area, the lines that we put up can be broken down with projects like this. And so I'm energized by this project. I guess that goes without saying. I'm energized by just about everything, but I'm really energized by this project.
Thanks for answering that. I'm so excited about this. I've been excited back when Tim Metcalf presented this, and I was shocked it's 2012 already. That seems like so long ago. Connecting, to the downtown, right? And sadly, that never happened. Lynn, do you mind? I see you have a question in the chat. Would you mind unmuting?
Sorry, I'm not in a place where I can get on. Yeah, so I have been involved with the Destination District, and that is development of the, area surrounding Alliant Energy Center all the way over to Park Street, and it too is about connectivity. I see the John Nolan Waterfront project being, development specifically of the lakefront, but I just want to make sure, we're a city who oftentimes finds ourselves working in silos with the same goals in mind. So just curious about what the interaction is between the John Nolan Waterfront and the Destination District.
Couple things. Pam Christensen, who is actively involved in the Destination District,
Is the chair. Might be the chair, Lynn. I think she's the chair right now.
She's on our Friends of Nolan Waterfront board.
Excellent.
And one of the things that we're doing, the ad hoc committee is doing, is looking at some some presentations over this next 4-month period while the design teams are putting their plans together to educate the committee, educate the consultants, and educate the community about issues relating to this proposed park. We're having city engineering is going to talk about the John Nolan Drive project. These are going to be hour-long virtual meetings. The Clean Lakes Alliance is going to present as to water quality, stormwater management issues. Equity by Design and Urban Assets is going to present on the public participation process. And we're setting up other meetings. Among them, we're just kind of organizing these meetings, and Destination District and the connection to the south side is one of those on that list. Another one would probably, we're looking for a presentation from the Ho-Chunk community on the Ho-Chunk history there. And things like that, and transportation issues, public art opportunities, that sort of stuff. So we have that in mind.
We are deeply connected with that organization too. Also, not just Pam, but we also have members of Destination Madison on our team. So Jamie Patrick is on our board. We're constantly communicating about this. I know it's a lot of civic leaders are discussing this topic. So there's a lot, and there's things like the land bridge and all these other things that could happen that literally and physically could connect the two projects. The projects are one and the same. We've got 156 or 164 acres. I always get it wrong.
164, yeah.
164, even bigger, which is about twice the size of downtown Madison, just to give you reference of what could happen to create more density, to create more activity, to create more vibrancy, to create jobs. There's so much that could happen on that campus, and then tie that directly in through a land bridge and through other ways into the Lake Monona Waterfront project, to me, is absolutely what our community should be doing.
And having in mind the annexation of the town of Madison, and
a few days away. Happy Halloween.
Yeah,
it's also annexation day.
We are aware of siloing history in Madison and are working hard at bridging the.
Oh, good one. Good one. That was a good pun.
Nice. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's very valuable, and we're excited to be able to, kind of inform people about the value and the connectivity, and literally on all of this. So thanks for that.
Thank you, Lynn, for your work on this project. Appreciate it.
I do have one other question, unless anybody, if anyone else, I don't want to steal the time here, but if anybody has a question, feel free to just go ahead and unmute yourself.
I think one thing quickly before your question, Peggy mentioned, we are literally setting up a presentation on this at our What's Up Downtown breakfast. We'll have a much larger group. We're hoping to do that around probably January, February-ish, right as this is sort of ending, to kind of say, this is where we're going. So just know we may do that in connection with Clean Lakes Alliance or someone else, but this will be part of our What's Up Downtown breakfast. John and I are working on those details now. So there'll be a larger presentation on this for the entire DMI membership.
And people who are interested in this, again, I really encourage you to get involved with our friends in Nolan Waterfront, with our committees. And Jason, I mean, Jason's a good contact person.
Yeah.
You know how to get hold of.
We email like 15 times a day nowadays.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's true.
So
I love
I
it.
do.
You
That
guys
was sarcastic.
take your act on the
I
road.
do.
You make him coffee. I mean, it's a whole,
That's right.
it's a whole thing here.
We sign
here's
tax documents in Alan's house. It's
That's
good.
right.
Yeah, it's all
That's
good. Yeah. True.
Here's my, I guess, question, suggestion, and I realize we're still in the process of creating what this could be. But I find what would be super important, if it's not already front of mind, and I'm sure it is with Jason, but, you know, do we have, will there be plans? Is it important to this committee to have some kind of a downtown Madison information booth, visitors, whatever you want to call it, that would be, you know, either housed by volunteers or a group, you know, you know, I'm so stoked that this is going to be land used for every single person, but it would also be great to invite all of those folks to the downtown area.
Yeah, no, totally. Great question. I think to me, there's a bigger question there. And Tiffany is so great at sort of answering this question. You can create great spaces, but you got to program them and you got to have active. And that takes a team to do that. Tiffany and the team do such a great job on State Street and on the Capitol Square. That has to be thought through when you're looking at this area, right? You can't just build something and think people are going to come to it and they're going to be vibrancy. You're going to have food kiosks and people welcoming people and games you're running there and concerts.
boat rentals.
Someone
and
needs to do that,
kayaks
right?
yeah.
And that needs to be part of that plan, right? Humans have to, you know, you need someone like a Tyler Leeper who did that at Brittingham or at Marshall or wherever at Wingra. That model has to happen on just that part of it. If you're going to have food, who's running that program? If you're going to program it itself with concerts, with fairs or whatever, someone has to do that. And honestly, for this to be successful, that has to be a part of the plan.
And if you go on the website, the LakeMonowaterfront.org, and there's also the Parks Department has a webpage on this. If you can click on that video, we couldn't show you here. It just really shows how excited these consultants are about this project and how really remarkable they are. I encourage you to come to the Design Challenge events to get to know these people, because they're both really, really good, but they're really excited about being part of this project, because they just think it's kind of a world-class location that they can make into a world-class public space.
So just 2 notes. I just put the video will work. Madeline brilliantly figured it out in about 6 seconds. So we have the video there on YouTube. Second, I just want to talk about one last how important this project is. I was in Vancouver last week for a conference with the International Downtown Association. There were multiple people that brought up to me without me prompting it. John was there for some of these conversations that were saying, we know that Sasaki, the agency, James Corner Field Operations, are working in Madison. Like, what is going on? I mean, this is a project that is catching people's attention throughout the country, throughout the world. And I think that is really important. We've got a moment here to do something special to it, but we need to involve the entire community on this project to build something.
Well, thanks to both of you for sharing this. I'm really excited about this project, and I would encourage folks, Jason put the link, as he mentioned, in the chat. You know, feel free to share that too. We want to make sure that this is a project that a lot of folks know about. And the only way they're going to know is if we share it, LinkedIn, social media, however you want to do it, to your group of friends. And as Alan mentioned, if you or anybody that you know of would be a great addition to giving some input, please note those dates that he provided and get involved. Go to their website, get involved, donate if you can. That's always a good thing. So thanks again. Thank you for your passion with this project, to both of you, and for making this community better through this project. I'm so excited about it. Does anybody, before we were running a little late, but if anybody has anything else that any other questions, any other events coming up they want everyone to know about? Anything else before
we have one for DMI. We did just announce the date for the State of the Downtown, which is our report on live facts and figures of live, work, and play, our release event. We're gonna have the mayor there. It'll be, I think, John, it's a Wednesday, November 16th, 7:30 a.m. at the Edgewater Hotel, running to a little after 9 o'clock. So again, the 16th of November, State of the Downtown, great event. We'll be releasing the report then.
Awesome. Thanks everyone for being here. Really appreciate it. Alan, thanks again for your time. And hopefully your cup of coffee made it all worthwhile. Have a great day, everyone.
Well, it was, to be honest, to be fair, it was Heather's cup of coffee. So I owe you one K-cup, Heather.
Oh, then we know it was good. Kidding.
Awesome.
Thanks, everyone.
John, can you stay on for 1 second? Thank you. All right. Thanks, everyone.